Welcome to the BreachLock Integrated Platform. Unify your security testing with one seamless platform that consolidates all your product solutions and test findings. Leverage a common data model, validate attack paths, and map your entire attack surface all in one place. BreachLock breaks down silos and connects solutions to deliver a unified view of your security landscape for comprehensive asset visibility. By leveraging the power of integration, BreachLock consolidates PTaaS or penetration testing as a service, attack surface management, continuous pen testing and automated scanning, as well as red teaming capabilities in one data model for endless clarity and reporting. Upon logging into the BreachLock integrated platform, the user will see a set of features on the left panel, starting with the dashboard feature. Integrated within this platform is PTaaS. By clicking on the drop-down menu, the user will see two features, one for Pentests and the other for vulnerabilities. This demo will focus specifically on pen test or manual pen tests that were defined within the user's organization pen testing scope. So let's click on pen tests and get started. By clicking on pen tests, the user will automatically be taken to a cumulative rolled up view of all pen tests. This includes pen tests that have been requested by the user, those that are in progress, those that have been completed, or otherwise. Let's review the statuses. Completed are those scans that are finished. In progress are those scans that are in progress or are still running, whereby the user can view the scanning process in real time. Requested are those scans that have been previously scheduled by the user. Additional statuses included in Pentest are paused. This means it has been paused by the user. The user can pause any pen testing activities and eventually resume the pen test when ready. So if we click on, for example, in progress, we can either view or pause the pen test. Pause is used, for example, when a user observes abnormal behavior in their environment or in a target asset and subsequently puts the pen test on pause. The user may also encounter an error status if the scan encountered some type of error. If fail appears, it means the scan did not finish successfully. And the other status is terminate. This means the pen test will be completely terminated as the user does not wish to continue the pen test. Once terminated, the user will then need to request another pen test at a later date. Now let's go back to the list of pen tests shown in the dashboard. Users will see all pen tests by name, product or asset type. For example, this is a mobile application black box pen test. The start date, estimate time of completion if it is in progress, or a completed state. If completed, the ETA means that the pen test was completed on this date. To the far right, users will see an ellipses under the action column. By clicking on this, an edit button will appear. Pen tests can be edited for those pen tests that have been requested or are completed. Those pen tests that are in progress can be viewed or paused. All pen tests will take you to the edit menu, while pausing a pen test will actually pause the pen test that can later be resumed. So by clicking on edit, the user can edit the pen test depending on what the user would like to do. The first step is pen test setup. This is represented by the pen test name. Again, this is a sample mobile pen test black box for Android. Product type. And to the right, users will see the remaining credits, meaning the number of credits remaining to run another pen test. In this case, we are editing a requested pen test that has not been run yet, so no credits would be consumed. And then more about the product or test that the user has scheduled. We won't make any changes here and we'll simply hit the next button. Here you will see a complete asset inventory of active pen tests. This includes the assets for which the pen test will be performed, any aliases if given, the asset type, in this case it is mobile, and those assets that have been auto-discovered or manually added by the user. Here we can see that both mobile assets have been manually added by the user. And the status, active or inactive. Obviously, these pen tests are active. To the far right, you will see an action column. By clicking on these ellipses, the user can edit the asset within this particular pen test or completely deactivate it. By editing the asset, the user can change the asset name, alias name, or asset type. In this case, we won't edit the asset and simply click Cancel. If the user selects Deactivate, this asset will be deactivated from the pen test and will appear in the upper right corner in a green button. However, for demo purposes, we will not deactivate the asset within the pen test. To continue editing this pen test, select the asset or asset you'd like to edit from the asset inventory and hit Next. Here we will select iOS and hit Next. This step is the pen test configuration. The user would select the application type for Android or iOS. In this case, we're going to select iOS, as this is a mobile pen test, and the environment. The environment here, we'll select production and then hit Next. Since this is a mobile app pen test, under configuration, it will also ask whether the user would like to share or upload a link to the application or send a test flight invitation. In this case, we will select invitation. A note will appear below stating to proceed with the test flight invitation, the user should leave a comment for the project manager, and we will cover that shortly. Here we'll hit the next button, and the user will be taken to Pentest schedule. This includes selecting the time zone for which they would like the pen test to run, the date. Please note that you cannot select the date that you are requesting the pen test, so we'll hit the 12th and OK. And then any time restrictions. As mentioned earlier, the user can add a comment for the BreachLock project manager or their internal group. Off to the right is the comments section. As we select the test flight invitation, this is where the user would provide this information. Simply click on Add Comment, and let's say test flight invite is, and we would type in that information. We would select private or public. In this case, since we want the project manager to look at it, we would select public. And we can also attach any documentation. Let's say the test flight invite is something that you want to attach. And then we would hit Save Comment. And it would appear right here. Finally, we would hit Submit. And then in the upper right corner, it will say Pentest edited successfully. Now, going back to the main Pentest dashboard, here's page 1, and here is page 2. The user will see an orange box in the far right corner entitled New Pentest. By clicking on this box, users can set up a new pentest by providing a pentest name, and here we'll select Pentest number 46, and then select the product type. In this case, we're going to select Internal Network Pentest Black Box and hit Next. Next, the user will be taken to Asset Inventory, where they will be able to select the IP address for which they would like to run the network pentest. Here, we want to go to the subdomain tab, which is by default subdomain, and select IP address. IP addresses are auto-discovered, so if the user would like to select one or all IPs, they can do so. Users can also create an asset group if they'd like by selecting the asset group in the upper right corner and group similar assets within an asset group. But we will click out of this and continue with scheduling the new pen test. Here we will select an IP or multiple IP addresses. For demo purposes, we'll just select the first one. and then again we'll hit the next button. This will take you to further Pentest configuration, and here we will select the Pentest environment, whether production or non-production. We'll select production. And because this is an internal network black box pen test, the user can select a virtual machine or appliance for this pen test if applicable. Users can select between Hyper-V and OVA. In this case, we'll hit Hyper-V. We'll give the virtual appliance a name. We'll just put VM test appliance. Type. It will also ask for you to generate a key for the virtual appliance. Here, I would copy the key for future reference, and then you also have guidance on how to download or install a virtual appliance. After we have configured the pen test, again, we'll hit next. And lastly, the user can schedule the pen test by selecting a time zone. Here we'll select Pacific Daylight Time, a preferred start date and time. Here we cannot select a preferred start date on the day we're requesting it. So here we'll move ahead, we'll select December 16th, and then of course we'll put any test time restrictions in here. Once we have completed all of this, we will hit submit. And again, you'll see that the pen test has been created successfully, and it appears right here under the pen tests. Having a centralized view of all pen tests allows users to maintain better oversight and control of their security pen testing activities. Users can quickly assess the status of each of their pen tests, whether scheduled, in progress, completed, paused, failed, or terminated, enabling users to identify gaps in their pen testing activities and to streamline resource allocation. This visibility provides a real-time view of the pen testing activity on respective assets. This visibility reduces the risk of any missed pen tests that need to be conducted on any vulnerable assets to identify vulnerabilities for assessment and remediation. Users will also be aware and can view the status of any active engagement and suppress any false alarms that are triggered internally within their organization because of active offensive testing. Additionally, tracking the status of all pen tests with the ability to edit and make comments for both internal and external partners fosters efficient decision-making, highlighting pen testing priorities and aligning test schedules within the organization's evolving threat landscape. This concludes the PTaaS pen test feature on the BreachLock Integrated Platform. Watch our demos for individual security testing capabilities integrated into one cohesive platform. Thank you.